So good afternoon, good afternoon, classmate. I will discuss utilitarian ethics and its importance. So, what is utilitarianism? Utilitarianism is an ethical theory that determines right from wrong by focusing on outcomes. It is form of consequentialism. So, utilitarianism holds the most ethical choice is the one that will produce the greatest good for the greatest number. It is only the moral framework that can be used to justify military force or war. It is also the most common approach to moral reasoning used in business because of the way in which it accounts for costs and benefits. However, however, because we cannot predict the future, it is difficult to know with century whether the consequence of our actions will be good or bad. This is one of the limitations of utilitarianism, and utilitarianism also has trouble accounting for values such as justice and individual rights. For example, assume a hospital has four people whose lives depend upon receiving organ transplant, heart, lungs, kidney, and liver. If a healthy person wanders into a hospital, his organs could be harvested to save four lives and at expense of one life. This would arguably produce the greatest good for the greatest number, but few would consider it an acceptable course of action, let alone the most ethical one. So, although utilitarianism is arguably the most reason-based approach to determine right and wrong, it has obvious limitation. So what is the meaning of utilitarian ethics? Utilitarianism is a normative ethics, a tradition stemming from the late 18th to 19th century English philosopher and economists Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, according to which an action or type of action is right if it tends to promote happiness or pleasure, and wrong if it tends to produce unhappiness or utilitarianism is a reason-based approach to determine right and wrong. It has limitation. And next is the importance of utilitarianism in ethics. Utilitarianism promotes the largest amount of good for the greatest number of people. When used the socio-political construct, utilitarian ethics aims for the betterment of society as a whole. According to the utilitarianism, we should carefully choose which problem to work and by what means based on how we can most improve the lives of everyone counted equally. So next is how is important is utilitarianism in our lives. Utilitarianism has important implication for how we should think about leading an ethical life. And according to utilitarianism, we should carefully choose which problems to work and on by what means based on how we can most improve the lives of everyone counted in equally. Next is the basic principle of utilitarian ethics. Utilitarian is an ethical theory that determines the right from wrong by focusing on outcomes. It is form of consequentialism. Utilitarianism holds the most ethical choice is the one that will produce the greatest good for the greatest number. So much on basic principles. And there are three principles that serve as the basic axioms of utilitarianism. First is pleasure or happiness is the only thing that truly has intrinsic value. And second is action are right insofar as they promote happiness, wrong insofar as they produce unhappiness. Next is everyone happiness counts equally. So, what is the main idea of utilitarianism approach to ethics? Utilitarianism is an ethical theory that determines right from wrong by focusing on outcomes. It is a form of consequentialism. Utilitarianism holds that the most ethical choice is the one that will produce the greatest good for the greatest number. So what are the thoughts of utilitarianism? So utilitarianism holds the most ethical choice is that the one will produce the greatest good for the greatest number. As such, it is the only moral framework that can justify military force or war. Utilitarianism makes the most ethical actions possible for the benefit of other. So, utilitarianism is one of the best known that most influential moral theories, and utilitarians believe that the purpose of morality is to make life better by increasing the amount of good things such as pleasure and happiness, the world, and decreasing the amount of bad things such as pain and unhappiness. And that would be all, ma'am. And thank you for listening. Thank you.